What's going on, community? It's your boy Kurt the Creator, and finally I'm bringing to y'all what you've been asking for. I'm gonna start off my tutorials today with a shadow fade and with the wavelength all the way around. Old school name used to be a shadowed Caesar. So first what I want to do is go ahead and pick out the hair, of course, make sure the hair is clean, make sure I check for any weird changes in the hair, things to look out for since I am cutting the hair off. And I'm going to start with the number 2 wide open with the Andis Master. And this, I'm going to show you how I actually do my fades. I don't do the second guideline, the third guideline, and all the other things that you may see on the internet, which is fine. What works for them works for them, but this is the way that I fade with the Master. What I do is I go ahead and knock off all the bulk with a number 2. Again, just to be careful, because this is my first time cutting this client's hair. I want to see the shape of the head. I want to see if there's any change in the patterns of the hair growth. I want to see if there's waves under here, the things that I'm gonna have to do to prepare myself to give it that final look and that final result that the customer asked for. They also asked me to knock the beard down about 1/3 of the way, clean it up, make the line nice and clean and sharp and crispy and all that good stuff. They weren't too eager to get enhancements, but as you can see, there's some light spots in the top corner around the carotid ridge, right near the vertical line, that I'm just gonna just tip tap just a little bit, just to give him that presentation, since he's been growing out his hair for this long time, and want to see what it looks like once I am finished. Now that I've cut the hair down, I like to go ahead and clean off my canvas so I can get even a more closer look. So now I'm going to remove the number 2 and keep the clipper wide open to do the shadow taper. I like to go ahead and set my areas of where I'm going to actually do the tapers. And like I've mentioned in a previous video of mine, I don't like to take the first guideline up beyond the bottom of the ear, because then you'll put yourself in a predicament where, you know, because you're doing the first guideline, a second guideline, a third guideline, and tapering out, by the time you're finished, you're halfway in the middle of the ear before the taper starts to take form. If you start right at the bottom and just clean it up, set the canvas for what you need to get done, then you can start working efficiently. Again, using the system that I'm using now, which is 1, 2, 3. Set the guideline, knock down the bulk, down, going down, and then blend up. That's it. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm fading down, getting rid of all the bulk so I can again match the thin area with the fade itself. Again, working my way around the fade, Not setting any guidelines, just knocking out bulk. Pretty much envisioning the haircut at the end from the middle of the cut. That takes years of practice, or you just could be gifted and talented. So right now I'm just feathering up with my blend, feathering up. And as you see, I'm not there fighting any guidelines. I'm not trying to knock out any hard lines that was created. Again, this is only a shadow taper wavelength. So all I'm doing now is working with my last 4 teeth of the blade, going diagonal, hitting that blend, because I've already knocked out the bulk. So all I'm doing now is hitting it, blend with the last 4 to 5 teeth of the edge of the blade, and just working up and down, up and down. what's weird about doing it this way is that if you don't know this way, you would look at it and go, man, this don't even look like it's gonna come out right. But right there alone, a lot of people would look at that and go, wait a minute, he's not done. Why is he bringing out the trimmer? You'll see. I grabbed that number 2 again, left it wide open because he did say he just wanted a third of it off. And again, this is just years of using my tools, so I already know which guard to use, so I don't have to second guess myself. Always knocking the bulk down, going down the face, never going up, because of course you know you go against the grain, you're going to take off more. So to be safe, always go down. And when you feel comfortable, again, just use the edge and do the feather motion and just flick out the part that you know you're going to do your transition taper with from the taper itself and going into the beard. Again, some people look at it and go, what in the world? I don't see it. I don't see it. Just give it time. And as you notice, what I do is I like to keep my tools clean the whole time. That way I'm not mistaking any hairs that could potentially make you think that you haven't gotten all the hair off. So what I just did now is I grabbed the number 1, closed it, and just begin my taper again. So I'm just blending it out so it can transition from the taper area down to the beard, tapering it out again. I just switched out the guard now to the 0 and have it almost closed, but just enough, because that's the 0 guard. So you gotta be careful with it. It'll knock a lot of hair off if you're not too careful. And once again, as you can see, if you look real close, you'll see the transition happening right in front of your eyes. Most people wait to the very end to start hitting the line, but I like to see what's going on as I'm working. No lines being pushed back, nothing. When I tell you that high vis is my favorite right now, oh, she nice. Look at that. That it quick and that easy. That quick and that easy. Didn't spend a whole lot of time. And again, I don't want to keep harping on the guidelines that I see a lot of people doing, because they're using the clippers that forces you to use the multiple guideline system. So I get it. But if you want to learn how to be efficient, not fast, efficient, and give the same results without, doing multiple steps, then watch my tutorials. I'm going to also show you how to do it with the wall system. Simple and easy, just like that. So it's not just an Andis thing that I claim, but you can actually do it with the wall system on the wall guards without 3 or more guidelines, just to get to the same results in the end. And as you notice, I did not stay long on the client's head, just rubbing and rubbing and rubbing, trying to get lines out and playing with the lever and all this and all that. Not at all. Because what I'm doing now is just setting the basis for me to go back and do my detail work. Now look what I mentioned to you earlier about setting that low guideline. Now all I have to do with the 0 guard is just knock the bulk down, fade down, blend up. So I'm knocking out all the bulk, getting rid of that line without even starting a whole nother line, right? So now I'm just gonna flicker out. As you see, I'm not resting the whole guard flat on the head. I'm flickering it out, doing my feather method with all the teeth this time because it's a wider area. So you're just barely touching it, just barely touching it. Always going back to knocking down the bulk. Also, this method allows you to not necessarily have to do your 1, 2, 3 strokes and then brush or comb, but you can technically use the guard itself. Flicker, 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 bring it back down, knock the bulk out, flicker, 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 using the guard itself to be your comb or your brush. And look at there, it's working itself out all by itself. Stress-free. And all this is light movements, that none of this is rubbing, irritating the client's head. It's not even changing any colors, as you can see, night and day from left to right, how clean it is. Now went back, got my trimmer, setting up my canvas. You notice that the client has dry skin there, or a skin tag. So you just didn't even see it before, but now you can see it, right? So that's why you always set the canvas so you can know what you're going to be working with without causing any cuts or bruises or bleeding. Cleaning off the canvas again, getting it ready to move all the way around. Look at that. Asking the client, did he want it low or jawline? He said, give it to me jawline. So I said, all right, I'll meet you halfway. This client unfortunately has a lot of skin tags and dried bumps on his face. That's why facials and skincare is important. That way you don't have to find yourself fighting with this after you decide to cut your hair down. Knocking off all the loose hairs, barely rubbing against it. Tapping it one more time, very light, right before I get to my detailing. Shouts out to True Barber for creating such a dope tool with the taper brush and a comb, all in one. I love this tool. Now that we got the preliminary down for this haircut, I'm gonna go ahead and start cleaning up that line. I always start in the middle on certain hair, because when I see that you have a widow's peak, I start in the middle at your lowest point and just follow it straight across. As you can see, I just follow it right across at the lowest point. That way I'm not pushing any lines back. The client is pleased, I'm pleased. Everything just works out just perfect. Don't want to stay too much on this front area because, like I said, these high vis hit. So I'm just trying to set my guide for me to see what to do with the razor. Keep it right there. See, nice and soft. Boom, boom. Just hit, drag it down. Hit, drag it down. Hit, drag it down. Then I always take the trimmer and run it across the client's forehead just to make sure that as I'm going across, I can see right away if the hair line changed or if I went down, if I went up. That's my cheat sheet of figuring out if I'm on point with the line to make sure that it's straight. Just run it straight across the forehead. Plus it gets all the hair off as well and give that nice ash mark as well. It's crazy what a haircut can do. What I normally do is I'll take the zero guard, throw it on there, open up the lever and just go over the front end. Because he has a light hairline on the right, I want to go ahead and kind of do a transition to meet it on the other side so it looks natural versus sprayed heavy or unnatural. So I just take the zero guard, open the blade up and just slightly just tap it down a little bit, rub it a little bit and kind of give it a front taper a little bit. That way I can also see the loose hairs that's hanging out and the client can't even tell 99% of the time that they have a light corner. It's all trickery, man. It's all trickery. Not every hairline needs to be sprayed. Because it's funny, the region that you're in, if they're into all that, like Charlotte, it's a 50-50. You'll catch people like, just please don't spray me, or you'll catch some people that say, you know, I'm going out for the night, I want a little crispy. Then, you know, you do it as it's according. So majority of my tutorials will not have an endowment of enhancements. And I don't want to call it natural, but it'll have a more genuine hairline, as is just me working my magic or my gift to make sure that the light side of the hairline doesn't stand out as much, and kind of, like I said, give it that slight taper in the front, but yet keep it dark, just so it can have some definition. Cleaning up the other side right before I give y'all the final presentation of what the end result looks like. This is what I call polish work, just going over everything, making sure all the loose hairs, brush it, comb it, so when the client goes home and shampoo their hair or comb their hair or whatever the case may be, none of that matters, because I did everything right and made sure all the hair is laying, falling, and dripping in the right direction. Again, my tutorial is not necessarily to give you all this other stuff that the rest of the YouTubers or barbers on YouTube are doing with the extra, you know, enhancements and presentation. My tutorials is to show you how to taper or fade and blend, you know, working your way doing this and turning the haircut from, you know, 25 minute haircut to a 45 minute to an hour haircut, just because you've created a bunch of lines that you now need to work off versus just touch and go. The final finished product, like I said, slight enhancements in the front, not at all heavy, just a plain natural look that the client can adjust to, coming from a untamed afro now to a interview ready look, nice and clean. Leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you rock with my method. You know, give me your honest input. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I see that I'm getting mad views, tens of thousands of views. If I can get 20% of y'all just to hit the subscribe, be the first to get on top of it. And if not, at least you know that it's inside your subscription area for you to go check it out. All right? Holla at your boy, man. It's your boy Kirk the Creator. This is Clipper Connect. That was a tutorial fade of a shadow taper wavelength, as we call it in the old school, a shadow Caesar. All right? Peace.